On December 20th, I said goodbye to my desk job, took a short break from work over Christmas, and returned to my life as Chris the Freelancer on January the 6th. Within 2 days, I had found my first new client, and 2 days later, I started working with them. Now, almost 2 months later, and I'm still working for this client, and honestly, they're one of the best clients I've ever had. They're well-paying, consistent, and they pay within just a few hours of me invoicing them. And this is very interesting to me because in the past, I've really struggled to find freelance work, and I've even been at the point of just giving up. But as I started to think about what I had learned over the years of me working in this career, I realized a few key ingredients that I was missing. And this experience has inspired me to share what I think are the 3 major keys to succeeding as a freelancer with you guys in this video. All right, guys, I'm gonna jump straight into the video and start with the first and most obvious of the 3, skills. Obviously, if you're gonna be a professional providing services to clients, you need skills. The 2 areas that I feel like people have a sticking point with is number 1, what skills to learn, and then number 2, how do I learn those skills? And unfortunately, there's no set answer. It really depends on your industry and the profession you're working in, but it all comes down to the service you wish to provide. I got a recent comment on YouTube asking me, what is the best programming language to learn to freelance? And I think questions like that are kind of forgetting the fundamental principle here, which is you need to figure out how you're going to provide a specific service for a client. Then you figure out what skills you need in order to provide that service. So asking what programming language to learn in order to freelance, you can freelance using any programming language. It really depends on, is there a market for what that programming language can build for the client, right? So using myself as an example, right now I'm specializing in Shopify theme development as a web developer, right? So for me, I need to know what Shopify Liquid is because that's the templating language of Shopify themes. I need to understand what a theme is and how it works. I need to understand the structure of a theme. And then on top of that, I need front-end web development skills because inside a theme is HTML, CSS, JavaScript. All of those things go into theme development. Now, of course, within a Shopify theme, if you're familiar with them, you can do all sorts of things on top of that. But those are the core skills. If I know my way around Shopify Liquid, if I know exactly what a theme is and what it does, I have the skills to go out there and offer Shopify theme development services to clients. And then second, under that point of skills, you need to learn what you need to learn. And for me, again, using myself as an example, I'm a web developer specializing in Shopify. I needed to learn the skills of a Shopify theme developer. And for me, the first place I look when I'm looking for programming skills is online tutorials. I think for programming and a lot of digital professions, you can learn a fair amount from online tutorials. That's a big reason why I'm a top teacher now on Skillshare, is because I believe so much in the power of online education, right? But for me personally with Shopify theme development, I found a real lack of coding tutorials on this subject. And so for me, how I learned Shopify theme development was, excuse the fly, we are in Thailand here. The strategy I employed to learn Shopify theme development was to actually get work as a Shopify theme developer. So I worked for a firm last year for about 10 months and I was working day in, day out with Shopify themes. Guess what? At the end of that, I'm pretty confident that I have all the skills I need to offer theme development services to clients, and that's what I brought to market last month when I was looking for work after that position had ended. And that leads me nicely into point number 2, which is confidence. If I didn't have the confidence to take the skills that I'd learned over the last year, go out into the market and confidently say, I can provide these services to your firm, the skills wouldn't mean anything, right? Because number 1, I need to convince people to hire me. And number 2, I want to be confident in myself that I can do it. and that's going to come across in all my client communication. That's going to make me feel more comfortable about taking on the work. It's something that I really lacked when I was first starting this freelancing online journey, and I have made the mistake at numerous times, especially in the first few years, of thinking that I wasn't good enough and that I didn't have enough skills to provide a certain service, where in the end it was just a confidence issue. And I did silly things like go off and learn skills in a different area when I already had skills in one area and I just needed some confidence. So of course, confidence is a tricky subject. I think it comes from, continually doing the thing that you want to feel confident in and then getting to a point where you can do it because you've done it that many times. But the tricky part is, how do you feel confident in the beginning? For that, I'm going to defer to Richard Branson and his famous quote, which is, if somebody offers you an amazing opportunity, but you are not sure you can do it, say yes, then learn how to do it later. I do think that there's a limit to that. You don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, but I think if you communicate with the client, there's a way that you can be confident and still not necessarily know exactly what you need to do. And if you can communicate with the client that I am a bit iffy on this area, or I don't know exactly what I'm doing with this area because I haven't had experience with it, but I can assure you I'm going to do my best to get on top of that area, and I will be upfront with you the whole way if I'm struggling. I think clients are really going to appreciate that, and you're still speaking with confidence even about things that you're not confident in doing. Of course, gaining confidence is a very tricky subject. If you're not a naturally confident person, how do you kind of gain that confidence? Anything you do, whether it be work, dating, even going to the gym, how do you gain that confidence, I think is a really big topic. But for the purpose of this video, I just wanted to throw it in there and share with you guys that was a key ingredient that I was missing, and maybe that's something you need to work on as well. Point number 3 is what I believe separates the highest earning freelancers from the lowest earning freelancers, and that is clear and confident communication. I guess this overlaps a little bit with confidence, but being able to communicate effectively is a big part of the service that you provide. Yes, it's the skills, but you can have all the skills in the world and you can be super confident, but if the client communicates something to you and you totally misunderstand it and create it in the opposite way that they want it, and you just keep clashing and clashing and clashing in terms of communication, then the service you provide isn't going to be that good and you won't be able to command as high of a rate. For me, when I started out, I was like, how am I going to compete with lower paid freelancers that are working offshore? So if I'm working with Australian clients, they are gonna go pay the lowest rate to work with somebody in one of those offshoring countries, which I won't mention. And what I realized over the course of working as a freelance developer is that the extra value that I provide is that I am a native English speaker who can communicate clearly and effectively and understand what the client is getting at with every piece of communication. Communication, I feel, is just so important, even in roles where I've been working with other Aussies as a native English speaker. There's been times where communication's just been on point and we've been in sync and the project runs smoothly. And there's been times where the communication's out of sync. And when that happens, there's delays, there's missed deadlines, there's extra costs. And it's so important that the people higher up that are passing the requirements down to me or you, the freelancers, that the requirements are solid and that I, as the freelancer, understand them. And if I have any issues or points that I'm unsure about, I can clearly communicate what's missing and we can discuss it and I can get to a point of understanding. When your communication is poor or you don't speak the same language as your client, then it's really hard to get to that point, and you might have all the skills in the world, but you can't get to that point where you can actually just take the requirements and build exactly what they need. And so that's why communication is a key ingredient. So those 3 skills, confidence, and communication are the 3 key ingredients I think you need to be successful as a freelancer, but I'm going to throw a bonus in here, and that is to be specialized. Being specialized is not necessarily a must-have, but it's such a good thing to have as a freelancer. You know, for me in the past, I have just been a web developer, and that's like being all things to all people. It's not a great way to compete with every other freelancer in the market. Instead, it's better to be highly targeted in what you can provide. And this goes nicely with skills and confidence, right? Because now that I'd built the specialization around the specific area of web development that I was doing, I now had skills in that area and could confidently say to clients, if you need specialized help in that area, I know I can help you because I have specialized in that area and build experience in that area and know exactly what I'm doing. You can't be amazing at everything, number one. And number two, the client is going to want to work with a specialist who can provide the specialized service that they require. It just makes sense, right? I'm sure you've heard the examples within medicine or law. You know, you don't go to a hand and foot doctor when you have heart problems. You go to a heart doctor. I forgot what the name of a heart doctor is. Cardiologist? I think that's the one. But you get what I'm saying, right? You don't go get a family law lawyer when you're going on trial for murder, if you ever go on trial for murder. No experience with that, by the way. All right, so taking all of these points and wrapping them up for you guys here in this video as the sun sets here in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and I'm running out of light. Basically, to bring this back to the experience I talked about at the start of the video, I realized that I had all the key ingredients I needed, and that was why I was able to successfully find work pretty quickly after leaving this job. I had the skills, I had the confidence to know I had the skills, and I was highly specialized. For me, all I had to do was go into the market and say, I've got this specialized skill set and I'm confident that I can provide it to you. And that was it. That was what the clients were looking for, or this particular client at least was looking for. And yeah, I realized that throughout my career, I've never really had an issue with having skills, but I needed confidence and I needed to be specialized. And those two ingredients are what really has been the difference for me, I feel, since those days of struggling to find freelance work. As soon as I figured out that I needed to be more confident in myself and I needed to be more specialized, I think those were the two that really helped me overcome some of the barriers and struggles I had as a freelancer. So that's been my experience and something that I wanted to share with you guys. And I hope these tips have helped you. If you have anything to add to the conversation, definitely leave it in the comments below. And what I will say is, you know, I speak from my own experience and I'm not the god when it comes to freelancing, even though my name is Chris the Freelancer on this YouTube channel. But, you know, these are some of the things I've learned. And as a side note, if you want to learn about specifically finding remote freelance work through Upwork, a resource that might be relevant to you guys is my Skillshare class on Upwork. So I show everything that I learned about finding remote freelance work through Upwork.com on that class. And then for everything to do with learning web development specifically, I have a range of coding classes. The rest of the classes on that channel right now are all coding related. So I've got 8 classes right now. You can go to christhefreelancer.com/courses. That'll take you direct to my page on Skillshare, where if you're new to the platform, you'll get to sign up for 2 months free access. That's an option to learn specifically from me, but you know, there's plenty of resources online for learning code, and I'm sure a lot of skills. Just remember that you're going to need some of these other key ingredients on top of skills, like having good communication skills, which is a bit of a soft skill, but then also having the confidence to instill authority and confidence in the client. So that's all I want to leave you with today. The sun is almost set here and it's almost dinner time. So I'm going to clock off there, guys. Thank you all for watching. I will see you on the next video.